Hi guys, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are taking a look at Cabo Wabo by Van Halen. So for today's riff, I've had a few requests from some viewers and followers who have asked me to look at some Van Hagar period, looking at some of the riffs and playing of Eddie Van Halen during the period when Sammy Hagar was in the band. Now, I've chosen to look at Cabo Wabo because for me, this is one of the most standout tracks from the OU812 album. Now, OU812 was the 8th studio album by Van Halen, and it was the second album to feature Sammy Hagar, and it was released in 1988. Now, it was quite a different sounding album for Van Halen. It had a lot more of those kind of catchy pop rock songs, and that was really evident with that hugely successful power ballad When It's Love. But there was also plenty of guitar pyrotechnics on this album, and that's apparent on such standout tracks as Source of Infection. But we also see Eddie experimenting with some different guitar tones, and that's really apparent on such tracks as Finish What You Started and also Cabo Wabo. Now, this track was actually inspired by Sammy Hagar's house down in Cabo San Lucas, where he'd gone to retreat during the writing period or the writing process of this album, and the track was a result of them spending some time down at the house. Now, this riff is a really interesting riff, and I think that a lot of people really overlook Eddie Van Halen's rhythm playing. To me, he is the king. He's the greatest guitar player of all time. You know, it's apparent if you watch my videos and you've followed me for a while. But there is so much going on with his rhythm playing. He really did fill such a huge space within the band. Now, sonically, this is a very interesting track, and it actually features Eddie playing the main riff on a 12-string guitar. Now, he used 12-string guitar quite a lot. If you listen to Pound Cake, there's a 12-string electric guitar underneath that main riff, and it really opens the sound up. But for the Cabo Wabo riff, he's using what appears to be a Fender type 12 string. Some people say it's a Telecaster, some people say it's a Strat. I've got an interview with Ed, and he simply says it's a 12 string electric guitar that was plugged into his Marshall, and then they were using the Eventide harmonizer, which was adding that healthy dose of detune modulation. Now, it features a fantastic groove. It's that real sort of Led Zeppelin, John Bonham, straight ahead groove with with this riff over the top. But then this track also includes that amazing chorus section, which is actually quite deceiving. It's still in 4/4 time with Ed playing these this chord part with there's open string chords. We're going to take a look at the whole lot of it in a moment. But the drums seem to shift their position in the beat. It's heavily syncopated and it gives the illusion of odd time. And it just, again, highlights the prowess, the composing prowess of Eddie Van Halen when it came to his rhythm parts. The track also features that fantastic solo which was performed on his Kramer. And we also have those chord arpeggios later on, which is a really big signature sound of Eddie's playing. So before we get into the riffs today, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the tone and how I've achieved the tone. As I said, this track was originally recorded on a 12-string guitar. I have actually got a 12-string electric, but it's a double neck. It's a Music Man Silhouette, but I thought it might visually be a little bit unsettling for you to see me playing this guitar. It had to be played on a striped guitar. I've also got hanging on the wall over there a Kramer Beretta, but again, I wanted to get that kind of pseudo Fender tone. So let's just talk a little bit about my Frankie. I said I was going to talk about the tone, and I think the whole kind of idea behind a Franken Strat is to make the guitar your own. That's obviously what Eddie did. It was lots of tinkering and messing around, and I've kind of done the same thing with mine. If I just turn the guitar over, you can see that I've had some trem upgrades. I've got the Futone 42mm brass block. Actually, I'll move that a little bit more in shot there. The 42mm brass block there on the Floyd, and also I have the brass claw and screws, and we have the red noiseless springs. Now I've also done some cosmetic upgrades to the guitar. I've got the strap eyelets on there. I have the 1971 quarter strategically screwed to the body. But the coolest thing about this mod, or the mods that I've done to this guitar, is that my good friend Peter Gus Mano in America, he's an equally big Van Halen nut, and he was like, dude, the neck pickup works. It's not a dummy. So he had it wired on a push-pull pot on the volume, and he said, you have to do this mod. So I had it done. My friend Daniel here at the Guitar Geeks in Stockholm did all the mods for me, and he kind of very cleverly pulled the cables through, so you still have all that sort of junk and mess there that you associate with the Franken Strat. But I have he pulled the cables through, so I've got the push-pull pot there to enable me to activate the neck pickup. So it has a little bit more sonic capabilities, and we've actually nicknamed this mod the Gus Mano mod. So if any of you out there have a Frankie, get this mod done. It's fantastic. So I can go from the bridge humbucker giving me that Franken Strat sound that we know and love. But then I can pull out the volume pots, and we have that sort of spanky Fendery tone. So in terms of capturing the tone today, I sort of went with what Eddie did live. There's a really great video of him playing at the Cabo opening party. I think it's in 1990. I believe it is actually the last performance that he did on his Kramer guitar. And he's obviously using the bridge pickup. And there's a great video of him playing it on the for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour as well, where he's doing his Music Man. So I've kind of gone somewhere in between. I've tried to get that sort of Fendery tone, but obviously not playing it on the 12 string. I'm plugged into my mini rectifier, which is sitting behind me, and I'm running into the 2-Notes Captor X, and I'm using a Celestion Vintage 30 impulse response. I'm using the official Celestion impulse responses that 2-Notes produce. They're dynamic impulse responses where you can move all the mics around. And I'm producing that heavy modulation from the Eventide H910 plugin on my UAD. So now let's kick things off by taking a look at the riff. And this intro riff is played through twice in total, but there's a couple of little different variations. We have this opening figure that you see throughout, based around the E minor pentatonic, playing the open E, hammering onto the 3rd fret and then the 5th fret. And then you're playing 2 on the A to 5 on the A. And then we've got an E5 power chord. We've got a couple of mutes, and then we do that riff again. Then we play an A5 power chord. And then we're just adding the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret B and the 3rd finger on the 4th fret D to give us a D over A chord. And then we repeat. That next riff, this is another variation. We slide into the 7th fret of the E string, and then we play 10-7 on the A and 10-7 on the E. So it's another E minor pentatonic run, which is based around shape number 4 of the E minor pentatonic. Then we're back into that riff again. Then we have that extra riff. Then we're back into the first riff again, the E5 chord riff. Okay, now we have a new riff and we slide up to the 7th fret of the low E. We play 7-10 on the E, 7-10 on the A. Then back down to the E5 with those mutes. And then we play an open A. We hammer onto 2 on the A and 5 on the A. And then we play 2 to 5 on the D. And then it's a D sus 4 chord. I'm playing that open D, 2 on the G and 3 on the B and the E. Anyway, let me play through that riff now slowly, the entire first part of the riff. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we're into the next part of the riff, and this is where the full band enters. This is where we've got that Alex Van Halen groove. It's just so pounding and heavy, and obviously Michael Anthony's bass as well, and we've got Sammy's incredible vocals. This really is such a great track. And it's, as I said, it's quite a deceiving track. I had no idea of the complexity of this rhythm part before I started to deconstruct it and analyze it. So we're back in with the same riff again, but this time it has a slightly different ending. So I'm going to play up to there. Okay, so we get up to that riff, which was the one where we ascend 7, 10, 7, 10 on the E and the A. So we have, then we're back down. We have that original riff, that E minor pentatonic riff. And then we have this new riff where we're going between an A5 and the 3rd fret of the E to a D5. So you get this. So put that together. Now we're on to what I would call the pre-chorus, and this section, I really dug into this, and I've seen a few people playing it online, not taking anything away from how people have been playing it. I've actually got the tab for this, and looking at the tab, I just didn't agree with what was being played. From deconstructing it using RX, you could really clearly hear the voicings of some of these chords, albeit obviously with the 12-string guitar, it can be a little bit deceiving as to, whether notes were played higher or lower, especially with all that kind of swamping eventide on the tone. But I also referenced a few live videos, and you could really see the hand positions that Eddie was using. And so I've based it on that. We kick things off with the B major chord. And we got some rhythmic root notes there. There's not really any kind of main structure to that. It's they're quite sporadic. So I've probably been adding a few more than there are on the original, just because it gives me time, when you're playing it unaccompanied. Now, the next chord is actually in the tab book. I've seen it as an E5 chord with an A in the root, which is correct, but I don't think that E note is there on the second fret of the D. And when you see his hand live, he's not doing that stretch. He's more here. And to me, it's got a much crisper sound. So I've chosen to play it here. Now, you can play either the open A, or if you like, I did for a while play it with that 5th fret E, which gives you a little bit more control over the note as opposed to playing the open string. So I think it's entirely up to you. This was the next chord that I am very much convinced is not played this way. I've seen people play it like this, and that's how it's written in the tab book. But if you watch the live videos of him, he's clearly keeping his hands very close together. And also this G sharp on the D string leapt out at me when I isolate it. I'm wondering if he plays a doubled open top E like that. Even if he doesn't, that kind of adds a nice sort of 12-string, pseudo 12-string effect. So you're playing an E over G sharp triad here on the 6th fret D, 4th fret G, and 5th fret B. And as I said, if you want to add that open E, kind of adds something to the sound. And then just bring your thumb over the top to play that G sharp. And to me, that is a much more accurate rendition of this part. So we have B. So this E5 sort of diag chord, 2 notes, but against the A root. So the E over G sharp. And then we have an A5. And this is another riff that I haven't seen on the tab, and it's really clear. He plays 2 on the low E to 3 on the low E. And then we have the B chord. Now we have this incredibly cool open string riff. That's open A to 2 on the A to 1 on the D. Open E to 4 on the E. 2 on the A. Open A to 4 on the A. To 2 on the D. Open A. And then back to the chord. So you get this. So let's have a look at that part played slowly. Here we go. Okay, then we go around the chords again. B, that E5 to 2-note chord with the A. That G, E over G sharp, E over G sharp triad. Then we have the A5, that little riff. B. And then we jump up to an A chord at the 12th fret. We're playing just like an A shape an octave higher, so it's 12 on the A, 14 on the D, G and B, and we're moving up a whole tone for a B chord. So now we're on to what I would call the chorus, the next section, and this is the bit that really melted my brain. And once I got a handle of the groove, it actually came together quite easily. But the drums, again, this just demonstrates the incredible technical prowess of this band, yet they were able to put these virtuosic tendencies into incredibly catchy songs. You know, it's quite incredible, really, when you look at it. It was just such magic between those two brothers, between Alex and Ed. Now, what's going on with the drums is the drums appear to shift, and with the accents heavily syncopated, and it gives the illusion of odd time, but in fact it's still a straight groove of 4. It's just the position of where Alex's phrasing on his drum groove gives this weird rhythmic displacement. So we start off with an E major chord played at the 7th fret, so it's just an A shape, 7 on the A, 9 on the D, G and B, and as we strike that, we hammer our little finger down onto 10 on the B to give us a sus chord, and then we're back to the E, couple of rhythmic mutes, drop that chord down a whole tone, and we do exactly the same thing with the D chord. Couple of rhythmic mutes. Now we have this chord, and again, looking at Eddie playing it live, especially on the early 90s concerts on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour, you can clearly see him playing that chord in that position, and you can hear that B note. So it's an A major add 9, open A, 7 on the D, 6 on the G, open B and E. Then we have this little figure. And again, I've seen this written and played a couple of different ways, and I am convinced it's just on the top 3 strings. You're playing 5 on the G and the B, open E, and then you drop down to the 3 on the B and the 4 and the G. You can really hear that dissonance of the E and the B notes together. So you get this. So I'm coming in on a up, down on the rhythm, and then upstrokes. Make sure that you mute all the other strings out and you're only playing the top 3 strings. And then we have this little figure, which is the 3rd fret to the 2nd to the open E. Now, it's really important that when you come in with this riff, you're coming on the and of 1. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then we repeat that. But this time, instead of playing those little top chords with the open strings, we have this figure. Another, really random riff, but it just works. Open E to 3rd fret to open, and then we're going 4, 5, 6, 7 on the 6th string, and then we're playing 3 to 2. So you get on the low E. So let's put that together. 3, 4, 1. Then we go around the first portion of that riff again. And then we have a slightly different ending this time. Okay, and there we're playing that E sus to E chord, the D sus and D chord. Then we're down to a lower register A sus 2 chord. So that's open A, 2 on the D and G, and the open B and E. Now again, it's kind of hinting at that on the isolated track that I produced myself when I extracted the rhythm part. Again, I'm a little bit out to lunch. On the live videos, you still see Eddie playing in this position, especially when he moves up to the B chord when he leads into the solo section. But it sounds pretty much like that lower voicing. And then we have an open E to a third fret E to an open E and then a A5 to conclude. So let's put that entire section together. Here we go, nice and slowly. 3 and 4 and 1. So this really is a fantastic example of Eddie's rhythm prowess. There is so much going on here, many unorthodox approaches, incredibly clever, yet he plays for the song. It's catchy, it's fantastic. He displays these virtuosic tendencies and abilities within the context of a pop rock song, which is utterly unique. He really is, for me, the king of rock guitar. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. I will continue to teach you Van Halen, and I'm sorry about that. I just absolutely love diving into his playing. It's just so much for you to learn. As always, click the link in the description where you can download the tab for free. And a lot of these riffs, I'm just going to throw this out there, a lot of these riffs that we've been breaking down, just giving little teasers and tasters for, maybe I am filming full lessons of these videos for the upcoming Six String Alliance website. Yes, stay tuned. I'm currently beavering away, juggling, making content and doing other work, music work, as well as coming up with courses and songs for when we finally launch the website. So just bear that in mind. Exciting times ahead. Okay, so that's it from me. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you here very soon. Bye for now.